In this video we're going to be taking along the brand new Nike Alphafly 3 to a half marathon where I'm going to be doing a race test in the shoe. Make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I've got some very bad news. What is up everybody and welcome to 40 Runs. My name is Chris Ford and I'm a running coach who likes to review running shoes here on YouTube. Now this video, like I said, we're going to be looking at this shoe. But we're going to be looking at this shoe, what it's like after I've actually raced in it. I've got a half marathon tomorrow here in Hertfordshire, so I thought the best way to review this shoe is actually to go out and do a race in it because it is a racing shoe. Now before we do that, we're going to go through what's new here because there's quite a few significant changes on the Alphafly 3, so we're going to talk briefly about what's changed and what to expect hopefully tomorrow, and then we're then going to take them along to the Welwyn Half and I'm going to let you know how I feel about them. Quick history lesson for me and the Alphafly. I absolutely loved the Alphafly version 1. I did a couple of marathons in that shoe. Version 2 was okay. It wasn't brilliant for me. I ran, funnily enough, a half marathon PB a few years ago in the shoe. I think it was 2022. I ran I think it was 137, 138 of the London Landmarks half marathon. The video's up on YouTube and I ran them in version 2. But it really wasn't a shoe that excelled for me. I found much better performance over the marathon distance in the Adios Pro 3. Now this version has come out with some glowing reviews and that's why I'm excited to try it because I did really like version 1. So I'm hoping that this shoe lives up to the hype, lives up to the expectations, and I can put it into play in some of the marathons I've got this year. Okay, so before we do the real life actual proper test of the shoe, let's talk about what's going on here. Right, so the shoe came out in limited numbers and there is a new drop coming later on in March. It's £285 here in the UK. We've got a brand new Atom Knit 3.0 upper. It's still stack height up at 40mm with the 8mm drop. It's the lightest ever Alphafly. It's 228 grams, about 8 ounces in my UK 9.5, which fits true to size. Now of interest, that's 20 grams roughly lighter than the previous version for me. They played around with the geometry. I'll show you some of that in a minute. They've got the continuous midsole. There's no break in it like the previous version. We've got a brand new plate in here, which has got a slightly wider version of it. It's, in particular on the medial side, it's been extended, so we've got the Nike Fly plate, but it's been changed. They've increased the width of the shoe to make it more stable. We've still got Zoom X, but it feels like a different material to hand. I'll come on to that as well. We've got a redesigned outsole with a little bit more rubber coverage up the front, but sort of less at the back. And I think that's it in terms of stats and features, real quick. Okay, so the first thing that struck me more than anything else is the width of the shoe versus previous versions. It just looks and feels a lot wider, and I hope that gives it some inherent stability, which the other shoes were lacking. The fact that they've increased the plate on the medial side to give you that sort of wider platform within the plate should iron out some of the problems of the other shoes. Oh, one thing they have done is they've redesigned the fit. One of the big problems, I don't know if you can see down the camera, was the arch. That gave a lot of people a lot of problems, and apparently they've redesigned the inside of the shoe to get rid of some of those problems. Now we won't know that until I go out and run 13.1 miles in that race tomorrow, but it is interesting the fact that they sort of took note of that in terms of the feedback and they've done something about it. Interestingly, the rubber that used to come up here seems to have gone. I know some people had some problems with that in the past, but that seems to have gone. The upper just looks a lot more breathable, a lot more sort of barely there, which is what you want on a racing shoe. And you've got to remember, this is the ultimate racing shoe, people, for the marathon distance. This is not an everyday shoe or anything like that. Yeah, this is premium racing technology here. Okay, so this is at the top end in terms of racing shoes. But yes, they played around with the geometry. You can see they've cut away the heel here. They've got this bevel going on now instead of extending that out. So that's really changed around with the geometry, which is obviously being impacted by the fact that they've got the continuous Zoom X running through the shoe. You've got the cutout there, see the fly plate. But they've cut that out, and but instead of where they're sort of decoupled before, it's all one piece. And again, that will probably aid in terms of stability and the overall ride of the shoe. It definitely feels lighter in hand, it's noticeable, and I like the fact that they've got some more rubber, or it feels a little bit more rubberized up the front end, which should help wear and tear. The heel's got hardly anything there, but again, it's not expecting it to last forever. This is a racing shoe that should really ultimately be used for race day. But that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to add. Obviously, you've got the new design on the Zoom Pod units, but other than that, I just really want to get out and run in it. Now, the race tomorrow, I'm not expecting to go for a time, just to put that out there. I'm coming back from sickness, so I'm just going to go out and see what I've got. I'm not expecting to put a big time down or anything like that, okay? That will come hopefully later on in the year. But I just want to see, and I think I will get a feel for these, in particularly after running in 1 and 2. And I'll get that feel of what it's like in a race situation. Okay, so there we go. That's that. So let's see what we get with the shoe. Let's head over to the Hertfordshire, or the Welwyn Half here in Hertfordshire, and let's see what the brand new Alphafly 3 is made of. Stick around to the end of the video because I'll let you know what it was like. We'll probably also do some comparison videos with this versus like Vaporfly 3 and Adios Pro 3 once I've run in it. Okay, right, so there you go. So let's head over to the Welwyn Half and race the Alphafly 3. And I've just I've just decided to switch the podcast thing on because basically I can't bother to get the camera out. But anyway, we've got some important stuff to talk about. Right, so here they are, very dirty Alphafly 3s. Can you see that? I've done a good job of actually wiping them over with a baby wipe. But yeah, let's get into how we got on today. And then I'm going to tell you, because honestly, we've got a big problem. Right, so where are we? I ran today. There we are. Will that come out on the camera? 13.24 at 8:16 per mile, 1:49. We started off a bit quicker. We was stopping ourselves from running faster than 7:50 per mile. I was doing a fair amount of that, and then we just kept pulling back. It's quite up and down. I wouldn't say it was like massively hilly, but it was like rolling. So hence the 8:16, because we sort of evened out. I would say, it being totally transparent, I don't think it was the best test for the shoe today, because that shoe's is obviously designed for marathons, you know, like running on the stuff that's like Berlin and London. And today, even like we had a trail section, and in testament to it, and I'll give it a positive on something else in a minute, but it wasn't designed for that race, okay, to be absolutely fair for the shoe. But let's go through the things I liked today. And I think what's important, I think, from today is the fact that I wanted to give it a race test. There's no point me going out and doing 7 miles around the block here. There's just no point. I wanted to put it into a race because it's a race shoe, right? So that's why I wanted to give this feedback to you after today. So look, the things I liked, I definitely felt, the shoe definitely felt more stable than previous versions. And it was really like uneven today in places, and it really felt stable versus other shoes. The other shoes would have coped with that today. I really like the outsole. We did some off-road stuff today, and it was fine, you know. So give kudos to them. It was definitely an improvement on the outsole. One thing Chris said to me, he noticed, because I was running with Chris and Ben today, that he didn't notice there was noisy. Now, I don't know whether that's where it's no longer decoupled, but it definitely wasn't as noisy, which I think is a big improvement on the shoe as well. The upper's good, breathable, works well. That's all fine. The foam's a little bit firmer, I would say, and it's still like really squishy, right? But it definitely feels a little bit firmer than previous versions. You definitely feel better the more, and we grab the shoe, the more forward you are in your strike. So when we came out of the stadium at like 650 per mile, and we was like striking here, I was striking here, and it felt good. We probably went back to about here on most of the run, but I was at target pace, 8-minute miles, 8:10 for, well, 8:16 was the overall time. So we was between it, but I say you had a lot of uphill sections in the race today. But it felt better here, which makes sense because it's a racing shoe. The geometries, you can notice where they've changed it in the heel versus the previous version. But I would say the width of the shoe has been an improvement. I would say inherent stability is a strong phrase, but it definitely feels more stable than previous versions. But look, we've got a big problem. In the Gumph, the marketing, they've said that they've redesigned the inside of it to make it more comfortable, and supposedly worked on this arch to get rid of some of this problem which we've had in the previous versions of the shoe. Well, the big news is they haven't. Look at the pictures I'm going to put up on the screen. My arches were in bits again. So I need to tell you now, if you had an issue with the previous version because the arches, you're likely, not absolutely, it's all different, you're likely to have the same problem, which is a big issue. All right, so bear that in mind, people. And just to give you some context, I took the Adidas Pro 3 out of the box like I did with the Alphafly, because some of you will say, oh, you took the Alphafly out of the box. But I took the Pro 3 to the Great North Run, took it straight out of the box and ran a 1:45 at the Great North Run with absolutely no heat spots in any of my areas of my feet anywhere. So maybe the Alphafly 3 just on the Alphafly doesn't suit, the way they built it, my feet at all. But it's really worth noting, right, that you've got to be careful in terms of the arch, because it's still there and it will still play havoc if you've suffered before. And look, this is only after one run, yeah. We're going to go out there. I'm going to do more races in it. I've got a packed schedule between now and then the London Marathon, so I will be doing more races in it. But I think to conclude the video, you've got the big problem with the arch, but also I just don't see it as a shoe as for the everyday runner. I just don't see why you would need to spend £285. I get why, why would I spend 285 quid of my money on it? But I don't think you need it. I think you'd be better off in the Adidas Pro 3, to be honest with you. I just don't. This is a shoe, an elite shoe that's set up for elite racing, to be run on those buttery, lovely, smooth tarmac, marathon streets that we run down at these world majors. This is not a shoe that's built necessarily to do some of these half marathons and maybe the lumpy and bumpy marathons we have over here in the UK. I also think that the pace you need to be, and the shoe felt great at like 6:50, 7 minutes, and then even at 7:50 per mile, it felt great, the shoe. So, you can tell that it is a shoe that you need to kick on in. And if you're not going to be kicking on in it, you might find it not the best shoe to be in. And that's the thing with the Pro 3 from Adidas, and even the Saucony Pro 3, and we've got Pro 4 coming. They're a little bit more forgiving. So I wouldn't jump on the bandwagon. I wouldn't get on the hype train with this Pro 3, Alphafly 3. Yes, it's an improvement over the previous version in terms of the weight, the stability, the improvements in the fact that it's now one piece. The Zoom X is better. The outsole's better. All of that. But you've got an arch problem still. And I just don't think that it, as an everyday runner, you're going to get necessarily the best out of it. I think, you've got to be running certain times probably to get the best out of it. And I said it with the Endorphin Elite from Saucony. I'm not fast enough to run in that shoe. I think I can run in the shoe. Don't get me wrong. When I'm trying to go for like 3:30 and below in the marathon distance, but I just don't think it appeals to a lot of people. And look, Nike's not saying it does, right? So, this is not a criticism of Nike. I'm just saying, be aware of it. You've got an arch problem, and I'm not 100% convinced by the shoe. I've got to be honest with you. And that's my feeling after doing a race in it today. And again, just to give you some context, I've raced in Alphafly 1, Alphafly 2, completed marathons in both of those shoes, completed halves in both of those shoes. And yes, this is only one run. It was in a race environment. It was at the front of the year, and I'm probably I'm the unfittest I am of the year. But that said, there's certain things that I felt in the shoe, certain things I noticed in the shoe straight out of the box that I wanted to let you know before you make that decision and purchase them. Okay, so there we go. Let me know if you picked up the shoe in the first drop. Have you seen any of these arch issues? Let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to know if anyone else has had it. But I'm not lying. You've seen the photos. They were taken on my feet. They're not anybody else's feet, not Ben's feet. They're my feet. So let me know in the comments. Have you had any problems yourselves? But that's it from me. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. I actually quite like doing this on here with this setup. I might use this again, actually. It was really easy just to come in after doing that race, shower, change, and hit this one. I might do this again, actually. But anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe. See you later.